it's just brilliant for somebody to just speak the truth and not care what anybody else thinks about it.
He's a smart guy, he's a wordsmith, he can put his finger on the pulse of society and find all the hot spots. And I think he's a genius. He's our Lenny Bruce. He's the modern day version of those guys who challenge society.
I think the honesty is he says things that everybody thinks, but probably they're too scared to say.
He's raw. He's absolutely twisted, but it's brilliant.
He's a straight talker.
Just like his Scottish humour, eh? It's awesome.
We were considering sitting down the front, but two bald guys, you know what I mean? We've no chance.
He takes it to the edge a lot further than anybody else.
So this is like my first time. I'm a Frankie virgin.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, the man himself, the one and only, Mr. Frankie Boyle! Hello, Glasgow. How you doing, wee man? Are you a weird-looking straight guy or a really weird-looking gay guy? I'd come on your face just to cover it up. How much will I pay you? That was your fucking effort, was it? When your mum gave birth, she shat you out so she could leave her pussy free for fucking the doctors. Look, you're getting a fucking hard time for getting your phone out, you dozy cunt. Where you from? Any idea? Just looking up at me like your fucking cat started talking. You've got a blank face there, pal. If you held that expression for long enough in a hospital, you get fucking switched off. You're from Belfast. I've heard a bit about Belfast. Apparently you have some religious worries over there. We don't really take any opinion of it. It's none of our business, to be honest. What brought you over? The ferry? You working here?
No, on the brew.
On the brew? Listen to how popular that's made you in the room there. Fucking 400 years on, Irish immigration still a fucking issue for these people. I'll give you a job, man, because we might need to fight our way out of this fucking thing at the end, okay? Is that your girlfriend? You're doing fucking well for yourself, man. Maybe her parents just wish that you'd hurry up and murder her so they could grieve properly. They're in tears every time they see Shrek. So there's two empty seats right in the middle. This is supposed to be sold out. Where are they? I hope they're dead in a fucking car crash. And what are you guys here in your fucking waistcoats and your suits and... I mean, don't answer cunts, because I can fucking see that. You doing fucking jumping about Glasgow in a fucking morning coat with a side parting? I once had people shouting me in this city from a moving car for wearing gloves. Gloves, you prick. It's winter. Fucking hell, are you on some kind of poverty safari? Who are you? Where are you from?
Glasgow.
You're from Glasgow? Where the fuck abouts are you? How the fuck have you not been picked off? What do you do? Inside you're from Pollock? What the fuck is going on here? Have you quantum leaped here from an alternative Pollock? Got to a stage now where people come up and talk to me in the street, and I fucking hate people. Arseholes are attracted to me in the same way that a store detective is attracted to a 2002 Celtic away top. People come up to me and they say, Frankie, what should I do if an ex-girlfriend phones me up and tells me that she's HIV positive? And I say, the trick is to always act surprised. Justin Bieber was accused of fathering a baby. Bieber said, "Judge me on my music." Guilty. He was only 17 at the time, so technically that woman raped Justin Bieber. At least it's something off my to-do list. My girlfriend and I decided that we didn't want kids when the first one was about 6. I've got 2 kids. It does put you off sex watching childbirth. I mean, you don't go back to a beautiful picnic spot after you've witnessed a horrendous murder there. Childbirth's everything people say it is. It's wonderful, it's magical. It's also watching your beautiful wife take a shit on her baby's head. Even caesareans, after 2 caesareans, it's like trying to fuck someone that survived a shark attack. Do you have the caesareans though? 2 vaginal births and it's like you're trying to fuck a dying man's handshake. It's like punching smoke. It's a good excuse to never go down on your partner again, no. You say, well, the last guy I saw coming out there didn't exactly have a fucking smile on his face. They did a study, said the people who get the most sex in Britain is the over 70s. What's an over 70s chat-up line sound like? Here's a Ouija board, tell your mum you won't be coming home tonight. There's an abject moment that happens to you sexually as you get older. I'm nearly 40 now, this will happen to you now. First time, what's that? Aye, thanks for shouting out like a crazy bitch, that's brilliant. I'll abuse you so badly your gynaecologist will think you've been in a fucking car crash. You love me? Yeah. I reckon your pussy's seen more action than fucking Hellman. Where the fuck were we? Oh aye, this will happen to you. I'm nearly 40, right? The first time you're about to take someone from behind, doggy style, and you think, I better put something down there for my knees. Maybe I'll fold up a wee towel. I'd love to do a 69 week hen, but to be honest, I struggle to get back up out of a beanbag, so... Cliff Richard was on the radio the other week, and he said if he got Alzheimer's, he'd consider committing suicide. And unfortunately, the interviewer didn't have the presence of mind to say, I know, you told me that already. Facebook have a thing now, but if you threaten to commit suicide in your Facebook status, they say they'll inform the authorities within 12 hours. Good news if you were planning on slashing your wrists with a banana. Already try and help out with that. I check Facebook every day for people who are threatening to kill themselves, and I try and cheer them up with a quick wee Frankie likes this. See the Terry Pratchett documentary about assisted suicide? I couldn't watch the bit where the old guy died because I was coming so hard that my glasses fell off. Some proper fucking trouble in this tour, I really do. It's a badge of honour, isn't it? You never see a shit comedian involved in a controversy, do you? You never switch on the news to see Peter Kay was at the centre of a storm today. When his joke about whether or not you remember Derry Lee triangles was blasted by lactose intolerant groups. Likes to do nostalgia, Peter Kay. I could do that. Do you remember when Peter Kay was good? There we go. They sacked Jason Manford for having a wank in a hotel room. It's not like he's wanking on the One Show, is it? Next up, Phil Tufnell with the best budget lawnmowers. Of course he's wanking, he's a comedian on tour. I can't come on tour unless I've wrapped a student in cling film and kicked their body down a motorway lay-by. TV's a fantasy, right? It's a middle-class, bourgeois fantasy. You look at daytime TV and how aspirational it is, then ask yourself, who's watching daytime TV? Benefit cheats and prisoners. They don't buy and sell antiques. They don't renovate houses to sell them on. They don't have stuff in their attic. And if they did have stuff in their attic, it'd be fucking Shannon Matthews. Well, that was too much. Fucking brace yourselves, okay? That was a fucking sorbet to clear the palate, is what that was. You're looking back on this Shannon Matthews material like it was a treasured childhood holiday in 20 minutes. Or these middle-class cookery shows where they braise a saddle of lamb. I want a show aimed at the people that are watching it where two chefs try to remember that they've left oven chips on. I want a show where Got Wan shows you what kind of makeup to use to cover up a black eye. I want someone on Flog It. It's one of the people that watches Flog It, a recovering heroin addict prostitute. What have you got to flog for us today? Well, an MPEG of me being fucked by a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. I enjoyed the European Championships, I did, but England didn't go out the way I wanted them to. I wanted it to be on penalties, but I wanted John Terry to lose his fucking mind and blast his penalty into the face of a black spectator. Now, I have to be careful how I phrase this next bit, but John Terry has a rapist's face. Not saying he's raped anyone. Not saying he's raped anyone. All I'm saying is if he does rape someone, I get £200 off Paddy Power. From a £190 bet. I wouldn't piss on John Terry if he was on fire. In fact, if I'd been drinking heavily all day and I really needed a piss and I'd had to queue to get into the bathroom and John Terry was on fire in the toilet bowl, I'd use the sink. The only fluid I'd give John Terry is I'd wank on him in a Burns ward if I had AIDS. Open your mouth, John! Open your burning mouth! I love the way England always gets really excited in these championships, man. Everyone get really excited just because Wayne Rooney nodded in a goal that could have been put away by Stephen Hawking during a power surge. Rooney's had a hair transplant. Someone should tell the fucker they do faces now as well. I'd like to see him with Andy Carroll's hair. He'd look like a rapist Cabbage Patch doll. Should have got Harry Redknapp as manager, shouldn't they? Guy who looks like someone waxed a wombo. I like that band Little Mix, just because one of them has an entirely oval face. I keep expecting Johnny Wilkinson to run in and boot her fucking head off her shoulders. She could be an embarrassing bodies without even taking her top off. There's this whole debate on the X Factor, isn't there? Should they let mentally ill people on there? Let them on there! It's supposed to be fucking entertaining. I want Peter Sutcliffe on there singing If I Had a Hammer. Say what you like about the Yorkshire Ripper, but he must have one hell of a wank bank. Product placement in the X Factor now. I reckon as a culture we're about 6 months away from having product placement in the fucking news. A British soldier died in Kandahar today after stepping on a landmine. Should have gone to Specsavers. Fucking Union Jack dressed down the front of this gig, you're in fucking trouble. Don't know if you've heard, but we've had a few religious problems here over the years. It's like the more mature lady. Don't mind me saying that, do you? Do you know what I think you'd look good in? 1996. I'm only kidding, 94. You with the tattoos down there, man? You look like the pad I keep beside my phone. Hey, now, son, you have a bit of a fucking dim expression there. You know what I mean? You look like you only remember your own name because your mum's got it tattooed on her lower back. How you doing, madam? Not saying you look like a schemie, you just look like you'd have a pebble dashed vajazzle. What's that in your bra? Have you got your fucking phone in your bra? You did, because I fucking saw you from the wings. Someone will get the wrong number, they'll phone up and it'll sound like I'm drowning in your tits. It's a natural place for your phone, isn't it? Especially when your knickers have got your bottle opener in there. What's your story anyway? What'd you do?
I'm an interior designer.
You're an interior designer. I notice some inconsistencies in the way that you've designed the exterior of your face. Not in a terrible way, but it's not so much eyebrows, it's more like someone's decided to underline your head. God gave you eyebrows, so why not tear them off and draw them back on with no mirror and a lump of coal? What are you designing the interiors of? Offices? People's houses? Who else has houses? All houses are people's houses. There's no fucking dog houses. Well, there are dog houses actually, to be honest. You're right, you're fucking one step ahead. Concentrate on the people's houses, that's where the money is. The dogs have got fuck all. Ever tried to sell a dog a lamp? You fucking strut. What the fuck am I talking about now? What about you, man? That's a rather strange fucking injury you've developed there. What happened to you?
Burnt myself.
You burnt yourself? That sounded awfully deliberate there. Do you know what I mean? Burnt myself. How did you burn yourself?
I get burnt at work, Frankie.
You got burnt, now you've fucking changed your story. Fucking one call to those fucking no fees lawyers and suddenly you got burnt at work. A minute ago you'd burnt yourself. You're gonna fucking fold in the witness box like a red hot Mars bar. What happened to you?
I work for a company that makes a lot of hot shit and
You work for a company that makes a lot of hot shit. Well, I can see this starting to come together like the start of an episode of Casualty, isn't it? How'd you put your elbow in something hot?
I just kind of brushed against it and I was fucked.
I just brushed against it and I was fucked. It's a lovely understatement to Scottish people, isn't it? That's why you don't really get us in those kind of 999 rescue shows that America has, you know what I mean? I was driving along and I just kind of fucked the car into a tree. I ended up fucked, the car was fucked, tree was fucked. Thank God there was no hot shit around. I just jumped out and rammed my fucking elbow into it like a maniac. Do you watch the Royal Jubilee? I have a theory about the Royal Jubilee, that rain was Diana's tears. What, too soon? Fuck off. Queen looks fucked now, doesn't she? She looks like a stamp that's been in the wash. They're talking about buying her a yacht as a present. She's fucking 80 odd. Stick a cornet on a pony's head and tell her it's a fucking unicorn. It's been a year of organised fun, hasn't it? That in the Olympics. You know, everyone hates organised fun, going out with your work. Best nights are the spontaneous nights where you end up nuts deep in a dead tranny. The Olympics, I couldn't get tickets for the synchronised swimming, so instead I watched a woman drown through a kaleidoscope. Everyone was going on about the diving for some reason. It's not even a difficult dive. It's the same diving board you get at decent swimming baths. 9/11, that was a difficult dive. It's been good to see someone grab their ankles on 9/11 throwing a few turns on the way down. Nice to see someone come down with a bit of style that day. Just one guy surfing down on a desk. I said that as it was happening and it's taken 11 years to become acceptable. It's a good event, the diving. It's the only event where if you really fuck up, you can still win gold at the Paralympics. Fucking camp though, the diving. I said that in a camp way as well. Fucking camp, isn't it? That'd be good if Tom Daly and his partner had jumped at the same time and the other guy had to beast him in midair. Or watch the 100 metres and think, this would be a lot more exciting if everybody was on fire. And at the finish line we had a big trough of water. Well, we told them it was water and it was petrol. Why was Britain holding the Olympics? It's not even a sporty country. Britain's not even a sporty country. JJB Sports has an escalator to go down one flight of fucking stairs. You should have done it as a lottery, you know. You get a letter through the post and you go, fucking hell, I'm doing the triple jump. Our contestant in the diving ends up being that lassie, Britain's fattest teenager. And she wins because everyone else has to jump into an empty pool. Did anyone else watch the dressage and think, ketamine looks fucking amazing? I like the idea of fucking Jessica Ennis, I do. But I know that in practice my gut would settle into her abs like pancake mix filling up a fucking waffle aisle. Victoria Pendleton can lift twice her own body weight. She's sexy because it means she still wouldn't be able to throw me off. Do you know what I thought they should have had as the commentary for the women's football? Andy Gray with a bottle of wine. Just the national anthem playing and the cameras going along their faces and him going, 5, 6.5, 7 if I had a drink in me. That closing ceremony was shite, wasn't it? Literally our only hope of entertainment there was Al Qaeda. If Al Qaeda had blown that up, even the survivors would have been applauding. Even people who'd been left with one arm would have been going, fucking well done guys, that was really starting to gag. They had James Bond at the opening ceremony doing a stunt. Should have had him doing the other stuff Bond does, you know, shagging someone, telling a bit of a joke. Good if he was bending Jessica Ennis over the podium and he turned around to the camera and went, I'm going for bronze. 18,000 troops at the Olympics, man. How much oil is under that fucking stadium? The Afghan shooting team must have been shitting themselves. You take a shortcut across a sandpit, some guy has a flashback, your death ends up being as part of the what happened next round on A Question of Sport. Don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this, but I know that for the opening ceremony of the Paralympics, they're actually forming a disabled supergroup. It's the drummer from Def Leppard, Michael J. Fox on maracas, and obviously Dappy. The Olympic torch came through Glasgow, followed by a junkie with a giant spoon. Do you know the torch really came from? Came from the Nazis, came from the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Everyone talks about the 1936 Berlin Olympics. No one mentions the 1936 Berlin Paralympics. That's what really fucking kicked off. Well done, pal, there's your medal. Into showers. I really wanted to go to the Paralympics, I did. But apparently the parking's going to be an absolute bastard. Saudi Arabia was supposed to send a women's team to the Olympics and then they didn't. I was looking forward to their synchronised swimming team in burqas bobbing about like a tank full of jellyfish. Apparently the Saudi Arabian Paralympic team is just thieves. Don't fucking boo that, you cunt. I had an idea for doing a joke about the Olympics so offensive that I would have to retire. And then that Rebecca Adlerton thing was in the papers and I couldn't do it, right? I don't even think Rebecca Adlerton's ugly. She's a bit of a challenge wank. But I thought the real star of this Olympics, obviously Jessica Ennis, right? So my idea was, when she'd won the medal and she's up on the podium and the national anthem's playing and she's crying, I thought it'd be good to tweet this joke. I couldn't go out with someone like Jessica Ennis. Couldn't go out with a woman who wouldn't feel it when I punched her in the stomach. I'd end up having to pay for an abortion. There'd been no coming back from that joke. I'd have had to go and live with Jimmy Carr on his private island. Poor Jimmy, man. Maxine Carr's raging that he's ruined the family's good name. Do you know what's at the heart of it for these papers? They say, oh, we don't like this kind of comedy, you know, but they like to titillate their readers with the jokes. Oh, we shouldn't have said this. Don't fucking print it then. It's like a flasher being up in front of a judge and the judge saying, you're accused of approaching a lady in a park and showing her one of these. It's a weird time to be doing comedy, you know. It's the first time since I started when people have said, let's ban certain words, let's ban certain jokes. And language doesn't really work like that, you know. I had a wee line on the last tour about the Ministry of Defence. I'm very anti-war, so I was going, the Ministry of Defence, at least in the old days we were honest, and we used to call it the Ministry of War. Hello, Ministry of War, Department of Nigger Bombing, how can I help? And that actually comes from a quote from Lloyd George. Lloyd George, when he was British Prime Minister, said, Britain reserves its right to bomb niggers. And that's an important quote, because once you hear that, you realise that Britain's always been racist from the top down. I thought it's worth using that in a joke for, it's worth using that word for. A guy came up to me after a gig in Glasgow, a white guy, and he said, I don't think that you should ever use the word nigger in any context. And I said, well, you've just used it. And do you know what he said? He said what I kind of hoped I would say in the same circumstances. He went, no, I didn't. So you can't really ban words, right? Ricky Gervais got in trouble for saying mong. I don't know why he did it, because he didn't seem to be able to make it very funny. You can't ban a word. Even a horrible word like that. That's like saying, let's just burn one book. Let's just burn Mein Kampf. It's a horrible book. Nobody likes it. At the point you burn Mein Kampf, you're a fucking fascist society. And you're not even a proper fascist society, because you burned the fucking guidebook. You're all marching about in peach military uniforms, invading Poundland. Why did you burn the guidebook? Why did you burn the guidebook, you fucking spastic? You can't call me that, Herr Gruppenführer. That word has been banned. You must call me der Nincompoop. I feel a bit like that about the Levinson inquiry, right? Obviously the tabloids are cunts, right? Obviously. And it's all PR now, right? I don't know if anything's even happening in Syria or if President Assad has just got a book coming out. But freedom of the press is important, and maybe the price that we pay for that is we have to hear who Ryan Giggs is shagging. The only reason we heard that was because his name fits really easily on Twitter. Jan Vennegood of Hesselink can pump who he fucking likes. I enjoyed the Levinson inquiry. I liked the McCanns on there. I kept wanting them to go, could you round it up in the next 10 minutes, mate? We've left the kids over in Starbucks. Just to show they could still have a bit of a laugh. There is a place for McCann's jokes. It's probably here. I'm not saying they should do them on the dictionary corner, a countdown or something. And going into the break, I'd like to remind you that Maddie is an anagram of I'm dead. Oh, I didn't fucking kill her! I left her with 4 hours air. McCann should lighten up, shouldn't they? They're probably grandparents by now. Oh no, wait a minute, you can't boo a joke where she's dead and then boo one where she's alive. Fucking pick one. Surely the real thing with the Levinson inquiry is, who leaves personal voicemail messages? Who's ever done that? I like to think, if I'd been famous enough to get phone hacked, what I'd done is I got my friends to leave messages for me, claiming that I'd raped them. Or actually gone one further and got a really shit celebrity impressionist to do it. David Bellamy here. Why did you rape me? I pity the fool that raped me. Lloyd Grossman here. Let's look at the evidence again. You handed me a drink, and I woke up with my arsehole pissing blood. Why did you rape me? Jonathan Ross here, my arsehole's wet wall. Murray Walker here. I've been dead for years. Why did you rape my dead body? What the fuck am I doing? Some people say you should never joke about rape. I probably shouldn't have laughed through that, should I? Some people say you should never joke about rape. Rape can never be funny. To those people I say, imagine Piers Morgan being raped by Lino from Thundercats. Those are just what ifs, they're not real. Piers Morgan being raped by Lino from Thundercats, funny. At the school assembly of a disabled school, not funny. Not funny. They're all blind so they can't see what's happening. Funny! Funny again! But they can smell something's wrong. Oh, not funny. The smell starts to turn them on. Funny again? Offence is just a question of your own personal taste, isn't it? I'm offended by banality. I'd have been a lot less offended by Michael McIntyre's last DVD if I'd been raped with it. How's Jade? Jade Goody? Sorry, mate, that's the only fucking Jade I know. Is that what you're talking about? Go for it. She's fucking been dead for about 5 years, you mad cunt. Have you just woken up from a fucking coma or something? This was covered in my last release. Poor old Jade, man. Fucking didn't like Indian people, but then hadn't heard of the concept of karma. Yeah. Shilpa Shetty, you smell a curry. Well, Jade, you smell a lot fucking worse than curry now. I got asked to do a questionnaire for a newspaper, and they refused to print it. I think because my answer to the first question, what's the most expensive thing you've ever bought? And I put Ulrika Johnson's silence. He said, have you ever told someone you loved them and not meant it? And I put, only my kids. What was the other bit? Oh yeah, it said, what would you do if you were invisible for the day? I said, if I was invisible for the day, I think I'd kick a mime artist to death. So at least he'd die with everyone thinking he was fantastic at his job. Or I'd paint my cock to look like a Jaffa mini roll and hang around a bulimia seminar. So Lisa won her case, eh? I thought a sex tape of me was about to come out, but it turns out that those little cameras in the windows of Curry's don't even record. How are you doing, big monstrous guy with the tattoos there, man? You reviewing this for the Digger? Gaza's waiting outside for you with Connect 4 and a packet of ham. What's your story, man? What'd you do?
Various bit of that.
Bit of this and a bit of that. Sounds like you might be figuring in Glasgow's security community somewhere, doesn't it? I don't imagine you mean a bit of watercolour painting and a bit of bird watching. How you doing, baby? You alright? I'm old enough to be your dad. But it doesn't look like it stopped him. Don't worry, we'll talk to you all. How you doing, man? What's your story? What's your hopes for the future?
To be a stand-up comedian, I suppose.
To be a stand-up comedian? You want to fucking give it a try? Oh, I know you've all been raised on the fucking X Factor and you think that's how it works. Right? Fuck off. There's no way that he's had the fucking abusive childhood necessary to do this job. What's your real fucking plan, mate? I'll make it fucking convincing this time, or I'll drive you into the ground like a fucking tent peg.
See what happens.
See what happens. You better get a fucking plan, son. You're going to be living in Glasgow in a recession. You're going to end up being the world's first ever male prostitute that has to offer a meal deal. Mouth, arsehole and a soft drink for $1.49. You'll be giving out nectar points. How you doing, me man? You alright? What's your story? Where are you from? Larkhall. Come on. Fucking Rangers jokes aren't for 10 minutes yet. Right, everybody wait for it. Tell you the look you've had in your face. You know when you go to the toilet, you go for a shit and there's no toilet paper? And you look in your pockets for something to use and all you find is a receipt. And just before you use it, you look at it and see that it's a receipt for toilet paper. That's what I'm fucking dealing with here. What'd you do up in Larkhall, man? Don't you fucking answer, mate. Fucking, nobody would fucking pay to see you in here, mate. The only way I'd pay to see you if it was in a fucking downloadable snuff video. What do you do, mate? You work for John Lewis. Fantastic. A surprisingly camp occupation you've got there. I take it this is where you met him. How you doing? You have a sort of look of one of life's victims about you, do you know that? You look like you're going to end your days screaming out your PIN number as you're slowly folded into a sports holdall. Some old people, hello people. Don't worry, I'm not your enemy. Winter is your enemy. Got a wee boy now, Oh fuck, we've got someone trying to contact the Starship Enterprise here. That's a fucking turn up for the books. I tell you how you could encore that wee performance, pal. Why don't you fucking jump? Trust me, it'll be a fucking laugh. We got a wee boy now, he's 4. It's the most important thing in the world to me, it really is. Especially now I've heard that my kidneys might be on their way out. I was pushing him around the supermarket the other day. I goes, have you done a poo? And he went, no, I've done a potato. What kind of potato? A bum potato. It's weird having someone in your life that you love that much, you know, because it teaches you about yourself. I always grew up thinking I was a freedom-loving person. I'd bring my kids up without stifling them. The other day, I put them on a merry-go-round on a Wurlitzer, and as it went round, I walked round with it, so that at no point was out of my sight. So I thought I was this freedom-loving person. Actually, I'm going, this thing's a fucking sushi restaurant for paedophiles. We got the boy a dog, but it died. It's a good tip for you if you've got a young dog yourself. Very important to adjust its collar as it grows. Apparently the average kid only gets to see his dad for an hour a day. My kids get to see me for 6 hours a day, if I remember to turn the TV to Dave before I go out. Life's different for kids now, isn't it? They don't get hand-me-downs anymore. When I was a wee guy, I asked my parents for an Action Man for Christmas. They gave me my sister's Barbie doll with the tits scraped off with a hot knife. Do you ever fancy Barbie, wee man? Do you ever make Barbie les it up with the wee knitted women off the toilet roll? I'm a feminist, basically. Women don't need men, do they? What women need to do is to invent a vibrator that knows how to bleed their radiators. All this beauty myth stuff they get pushed into, sticking your feet in a tank full of fish and then the fish eat the dead skin. That's degrading is what that is. That's one step above having your arsehole pecked clean by an eagle. Do you know what they did the first boob job on? On a dog. Did it on a dog. Didn't win Crufts, but it did come second in Miss Paisley 1975. Enjoyed David Williams swimming up the Thames. I think we should slash his hamstrings and make him swim the fucking Ganges. It actually took attention away from that wee guy. Do you see the wee guy that swam the channel with no arms, no legs? I thought he should have pulled himself out the other end and gone, shark. It was an incredible achievement by that guy, because do you know he's not even allowed to train at his local swimming baths? Because it's impossible for him to get into the water without bombing. Did anyone see what they did at the finish line? Did anyone see this? The sarcastic bastards gave him a standing ovation. Here's 2 things you can't do, you poor fucker! Throw your fucking flesh egg! Look on the bright side, he never gets a Veruca. Enjoy the trial of Michael Jackson's doctor. We were talking during the trial about exhuming Jackson's body to do tests on it. See, if they'd done it, I was going to watch it on the news with the volume turned down and Thriller on the stereo. Did you hear the tape? They played a tape of Jackson's voice under sedation, show how many drugs this guy was giving him. And he's going,
I'm going to build a children's hospital. The biggest children's hospital in the world. Call it Michael Jackson's Children's Hospital.
I don't even think it was his voice. I think it was the voice of the paedophile demon that controlled his soul.
I'm gonna build a children's hospital. I'm gonna buy those kids a game of whack-a-mole. But I'm gonna lie under the game of whack-a-mole. Stick my cock up through it. So when they're banging away with the little hammers, they're actually banging my cock. Michael Jackson's Children's Hospital. The biggest children's hospital in the world. I'm gonna dress up as a surgeon. I'm gonna do operations on them. Put little cocks and little clitorises into the palms of the hands. So that when I'm holding hands with them, I'm actually abusing the little motherfuckers. Michael Jackson's Children's Hospital. The biggest children's hospital in the world. I'm gonna tell them they've been cured. I'm gonna tell them they're okay and send them home to the mama. But it won't be the mama. It'll be me. Dressed up as the mama in some Mrs. Doubtfire kind of makeup. And they'll wake up on their first night home to hear me screaming, "You're not okay! You're not okay!" Through my mama's face as I come inside them. Michael Jackson's Children's Hospital. Biggest children's hospital. Yeah, you're sorry you booed the Shannon Matthews joke now, motherfuckers. I got the clearest heckle I've ever had in my life on that bit. Guy was alright, it was just a mad Michael Jackson fan, right? At the end of that bit, he goes, "Long after your memory has gone, Michael Jackson's memory will live on." And I said, "In the nightmares of his victims." Well, this is the ugly end down here. How you doing, man? You look like Alan Sugar's cum face. I'll tell a wee story, actually, because it's always hard to go back into material after Michael Jackson's Children's Hospital. Everybody take a deep breath and we'll find a happy place and I'll tell a wee story and then we'll fucking move along. People ask you about good heckles, you know? And it almost never happens. You know that thing where a heckle will destroy the sense of a material? I saw it once, I was at a stand in Glasgow, and a guy was doing a terrible routine, you know, about, do you know the Bob Marley song, "I Shot the Sheriff"? Just going, "I shot the sheriff." That's what you're saying in court, is it, Bob? Well, good luck. Good luck with the judge if you're saying, "I shot the sheriff." Be interesting to see how that case pans out. "I shot the sheriff," right? And eventually a guy at the front just fucking cracks and goes, "To be fair, he does go on to state that it was in self-defence." Scottish people aren't even trying to be rude, are they? I think that's what people have got to understand. You know, this girl came up to me a couple of weeks ago, and you know that she wasn't even particularly trying to be rude. Girl came up to me in Glasgow and she wanted a photo taken with me. And she introduced herself with the words, "You probably won't want to do this because you're a pure dick, but..." And I didn't, because I am a pure dick. It's the fucking dourness as well. This is true as well. I phoned a taxi the other night and a people carrier turned up. I went out and I said to the guy, "Are you a taxi?" And he went, "No, I am driving a taxi." It's weird at the minute with this whole Rangers thing, man. Half the people are delighted, half of them are miserable as fuck. It's like Glasgow's had a stroke. I like that whole anti-sectarian bill. Do you remember that? They're going, "Oh, we're going to ban these songs. We're going to teach the police these songs. They're going to go in and make arrests." So somewhere over the summer, there was a classroom full of big Strathclyde police officers who had to sit there for the day and pretend that they don't know the sash. Strathclyde Police. Still the only job you can get with 3 O-levels and a grade 7 on the flute. I like to give it to both sides equally, man. The Pope, if I was the head of an organisation with a rich history of paedophilia, I don't think I'd drive about in something that looks like a fucking ice cream van. Fuck the Queen and the Pope. What I say. Tell you what Glasgow's like, right? This is true. I did that in the King's Theatre before, right? And there's a wee guy down there with a Rangers medal on there, right? And I went, "Fuck the Queen and the Pope." And he went, "In that order?" Aye, Rangers, man. Kind of ironic that the only guy that does do walking away is David Murray. Won't be walking away this season because the away games are 400 fucking miles away. Listen to your team getting read out in Gaelic by Dota, man. If I had to sum Glasgow up to you, right, it's a place where there's nothing you can say that's so mental that someone won't back you up, right? So I remember a few years ago, I was trying to cut through a park with my baby. He was a baby at the time, and he's crying. We're trying to get over the park to meet his mum. It's Christmas time. And obviously it's raining because it's Glasgow and it's fucking wetter than Whitney Houston's last joint. They do sell sunglasses in Glasgow, but only to victims of domestic abuse. And a guy steps out in front of us and he goes, "You can't come through here. I'm a steward for a Christian organisation and we're filming a nativity scene here." And I said, "So you're telling me because you're doing a nativity scene, there's no room for me and my baby?" And I pushed past him and I said something I'm still quite proud of to this day. I said, "Jesus would have fucking hated you." And I walk up through the nativity scene, they're all turning round annoyed, and I'm going, "Fuck off! Fuck you!" And I goes like that, just as the Virgin Mary turned round, which almost makes me want to become a Catholic again so I can confess that to someone. In 27 years since my last confession, gave Our Lady the finger, still nothing compared to what God did to her, the dirty bastard. And I get to the other end of the park and I see my pal Gary, and I haven't seen my pal Gary at this point for 18 months, which I remember because he'd been in jail. I says, "Gary, I'm losing it, man. I'm losing my fucking mind. I almost punched a Christian." And Gary's first words after all that time are, "I can hold the baby." We're going to have gay weddings in Scotland now. I'm proud of that, man. I'm proud of Scotland, man. Because we've got nothing against gay people, have we? Unless by gay, you mean English. There's always plenty against them, man. I remember I was drinking in a really rough pub at Glasgow Cross years ago, and there's only 2 old guys in the pub, and an English guy comes in, he tries to order a pint of lager tops, and this old guy here looks up at him and goes, "You sell your arse." And the other old guy, who isn't even with him, goes, "And it's a raffle." Who would thought that the Crankies were swingers, by the way. I like to think if I was at a swingers party and my car keys came out the bowl and the Crankies stood up, I'd have gone, fuck it, you can keep the car. Do you want a wee quick rule of thumb? Here's a rule of thumb. How to tell if your partner's having an affair. They seem happy. My girlfriend likes sex outdoors, and I really don't. So what we've done is we've compromised and taken the spring off the letterbox. They did a study, said that love produces the same effects as cocaine. Certainly whenever I make love, it usually involves the death of an orphaned Colombian street child. It's a thing, isn't there, where if a guy puts a condom on before sex, obviously before sex, I'm off to the pictures. Good luck. If a guy puts a condom on without being asked, I mean, you know, on a one-night stand, the women will often think, oh, that's quite gentlemanly of him. Whereas often the reason he's put that condom on is that he's looked at you and thought, bit of a skank. How come teenagers need to get so wasted now? It used to be to fuck a teenager, I had to get them drunk. Nowadays I've got to sober them up. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to penetrate someone in the recovery position? Do you know what a time limit it sets in my lovemaking to hear an ambulance siren going off in the background? It's like trying to come to the fucking countdown music. Sometimes the ambulance crew will run out and defibrillate their body and the electricity will surge through them, and as I come, my cock feels like Raoul Moat's dying moments. Why are you letting me do this, ambulance crew? We work for Michael Jackson's children's. You look like a fucking junkie or something, you alright, man? You look like you're fucking nodding out there. Okay, pal, it's your story. And you fucking know who I'm talking to, but yeah, I do look like a bit of a junkie. I get that. How you doing, man? What's your story? What'd you do? Nothing yet. There's a fucking sentence loaded with promise. That was like a fucking stage magician there. You've seen nothing yet. What's your plans, man? What are you working on at the moment? What are you going to fucking reveal? You're in the army. You're trying to join the army. I've seen nothing yet. I reckon soon I could see you being blown to fucking pieces for no apparent reason. I don't know if that's a future, do you know what I mean? How you doing down here? You look kind of normal for this crowd. You alright, man? What's your story, man? Nothing. You think I can't break you? A lot of comedians used to do stock put-down lines. I have a private detective who rapes people. And he does, he'll take the Rohypnol himself so he can forget about you afterwards. Where are you from, man? Coatbridge. I can see why you want to play your cards close to your chest there. Fantastic. So who's your key worker? What do you do in Coatbridge? You work in a factory? What are they making there?
Disposable blood units.
Disposable blood units? The fuck is a blood unit? A bag full of blood? Could your fucking life be any bleaker? Jesus Christ, man, I wouldn't sentence a sex offender to living in Coatbridge bagging up blood. Can you get us some? What about you? What do you do while he's out? Does he just say he's bagging out blood and he's actually a fucking sex killer? I'm back from the blood factory. No, the factory said I need to burn all these clothes again. Company policy. What do you do, man? You've just finished college. What did you do at college?
Hospitality and business.
Hospitality and business. What a fucking pointless endeavour that was. It's fucking Scotland. Anyone who comes to a hotel here doesn't expect hospitality. There's your fucking room, you prick. What about you, man? Right. What's your story, buddy? You're a student. What are you studying?
Engineering.
Engineering. What do you hope to build?
Don't know.
You don't know? What's the fucking point of that then, man? I've
some fucking ambition, man. Have at least the ambition to fucking flatten Coat Bridge, man. Flatten its fucking bogus fucking murder factories. Fucking replace the whole thing with a wee sign that just says, we're sorry. Okay? Sex is different for young people now, isn't it? It's more extreme. They got brought up on broadband, do you know what I mean? My son, when he grows up, he'll come home one night and go, Dad, I got to first base tonight. An interracial cream pie. Second base will be smashing a perineum in with a fucking fire extinguisher. You see a wee guy coming out of a bedroom at a house party going, smell my fist. I wish someone had explained to me when I was a wee guy. I always thought getting a woman off would have a kind of light touch to it. You know, kind of safe cracker kind of thing. I wish someone had explained exactly how much it's like sanding a fucking banister. More effort, wee Frankie. Think more like you're trying to get a Ribena stain out of a deep carpet. I got asked to do Celebrity Big Brother this year. What a fucking bloodbath that would have been, man. Because people aren't celebrities, they're a group of people you'd have to hire a private detective to connect to Kevin Bacon. They sent me a DVD, the guy that won it in the DVD was, what do you call him, fucking Paddy from Gypsy Weddings. Probably because they worked out how hard it would be to evict the cunt. He bet Jedward. I have a theory about Jedward, that the egg that split to form them was actually trying to destroy itself. There's a sign up round my way, right? This is true. Next week, fun run for the disabled. How fucking sick is that? How shall we raise money for the disabled? Let's show them what fun it is running. What fun you could have running if only you weren't disabled. It's like having an I Spy contest for the fucking blind. Something beginning with N. Nothing. Well done. There's a real taboo about disability now. You know, you're not supposed to talk about it at all. Disabled people are stereotyped as though they're vulnerable, the most vulnerable people in society, the weakest people in society. And they're not. They're just ordinary, everyday people like everyone else. My pal at uni, she had brittle bone disease, so she was a wee lassie in a wheelchair. She wasn't vulnerable. She was the harshest, drunkest, most cock-hungry motherfucker. She was vulnerable in certain situations, right? If she'd thrown a bouncy ball in a small enough room, she'd have fucking killed herself. She wasn't vulnerable. Now, I feel a bit like this about the Paralympics. I'd rather watch the Paralympics than the Olympics, because there's a narrative to it. People are transcending something. There's more of value in the Paralympics. At the same time, there is an irony to celebrating physical disability by getting people to do some of the only things that they can't fucking do. It's a bit like celebrating mental handicap with a giant episode of Mastermind, in which modern country is the ancient city of Babylon. My name is David. You passed on 25 questions. And your name is not David. How does the diving work at the Paralympics? Do some people just get thrown in? Oh, his skimmer is going to get points for that. Also, surely the silver lining of being disabled is you don't have to do fucking sports anymore. How strict were their PE teachers? I'd rather not do five-a-sides today, sir. I lost my legs in a train crash. Get fucking changed, boy! Give your shin pads to someone else. So what else has been happening? Prince Andrew turned out to have a pal who was a paedophile billionaire. I didn't realise there were paedophile billionaires. I got fobbed off with a packet of fruit pastels. Silvio Berlusconi had to stand in. He was accused, among other things, of shagging teenage prostitutes. At 76. When he comes, it must be like having a handful of sand thrown in your eyes. Must be like having a Hoover bag tipped over your head. Greece is going tits up. Everything's for sale in Greece. I'm buying Lesbos because I've had a great idea for a theme park.
Britain's going tits up. Teachers might have to work till they're 70. Imagine what a 70-year-old maths teacher's going to be like. If there are 2 milk bottles on my doorstep and they're joined by a further 12 milk bottles, how long have I been dead? You alright, fanning yourself up there? It's fucking hot, isn't it? I'm sweating up here like fucking Peter Andre on Countdown. It's always vaguely sinister when it's hot outside in Scotland, isn't it? It's like somebody's left something on. Did you enjoy the riots? Riots were a good fucking laugh, weren't they? Shows you just how right-wing all the commentators in this country are, you know. All these people that write their columns going, oh, should we go into Libya? Is it okay to do something about Syria? When it's here, they're like, shoot this prick, he's got a pair of sannies! Fucking kill him! Every paper turned into the Daily Mail. Fuck knows what the Daily Mail was writing. Princess Diana's body has been stolen by space packies. We need to be more honest about how we react to things. People react to things in complex ways, and we're encouraged now to pretend that we only react in simple ways. So, for example, do you remember the case? There was a wee guy on a school trip, got killed by a polar bear. Now, obviously, you watch that in the news and you think, that's terrible for the wee guy, it's terrible for his friends saw that. Obviously, you think that. But also, part of me thought, ha ha. Not ha ha ha. But kind of ironic that he went to a school called Eton. Bit of a posh holiday if you get killed by a polar bear, really. A good advert for Centre Parks. Just a picture of the bear biting down on someone's head and underneath, Centre Parks. Shite, but there's no polar bears. I felt a bit like that about, do you remember the case? There was a Scottish lassie in Afghanistan, a hostage, and the Americans were supposed to rescue her, and they blew her up. Blew her up. Who would have imagined that a rescue grenade wouldn't work? Throw the rescue grenade at her, I've got a really good feeling about this. They filmed the whole thing, so at least her family will get compensation. £250 from You've Been Framed. They shot Osama bin Laden in the face and threw him in the sea, in my favourite ever episode of Celebrity Wipeout. Prince Harry's going to Afghanistan, so now he might die for the same reason as his mum. Fucking with the wrong Muslim. Gonna die anyway, he's a ginger in the desert. You could get skin cancer from a fucking crescent moon. Do you know what they just gave soldiers in Afghanistan? Bomb-proof pants. It's got to really take the edge off if you're hearing that your son's died in a mortar attack to be presented with his perfectly preserved cock and balls. We're a bit politically disengaged in Scotland at the minute, aren't we? We think that NATO is just a nickname you give to a guy who lost a foot to diabetes. I don't know if that's terrible or not, but it's just my favourite fucking joke. We cause the world's problems, you know what I mean? We don't even cause them, we don't even have agency. We're just like America's evil henchmen. You know, we torture people because we think they're suicide bombers. The guy was planning on blowing himself up. What the fuck are you going to do to him? He's a Muslim, get him a Bacardi and Coke, he'll tell you everything. Terrorists are fucking overrated, they're fucking morons. That guy in Norway, my plan for white supremacy, step 1, kill 68 white people. White supremacy? What kind of a fucking position is that? I want to live in a world where white people reign supreme. You already do, you stupid cunt! You already fucking do! You just get yourself sent to jail that's run by black people! That's where the white people put them because they're fucking racist cunts! They'd have loved you! 30 years since the Falklands War. 30 years. And yet Simon Weston doesn't seem to have aged a day, does he? I think he'd laugh at that joke. If his face could still move.
Scotland just got voted the manliest nation on earth. I think it's the women of Scotland that won us that award. Most Scottish thing I've ever seen. We got lost in the West Highland Way. Went to this pub. It's like a really old pub, and it's got timbers going across the ceiling as you go into the lounge bar. And this big rugby player guy in a Scotland rugby top walks through with a tray of drinks, and he walks bang, face first into one of these timbers. Doesn't spill a drink. Takes a step back and goes, "Fuck you, Beam." I think English people have a stereotype us, don't they, that we get harder to understand as we get drunker. I've always found the opposite is true. I find you meet someone at the start of the night and they're like, then you see them after like 8 drinks in a doorway on their phone going, "I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be allowed to speak to my own wife." Went down to the filming of that Brad Pitt thing in Glasgow. Thousands of people down there. Mostly locals hoping to be adopted. They filled the streets with zombies just by suspending the methadone programme for 2 weeks. I like Andy Murray, man. Andy Murray's not even miserable, is he? That's just what a Scottish guy looks like when he's never allowed to eat chips. It's a different fucking world up here, isn't it, man? You see a kid with stabilisers on his bike in Glasgow, doesn't mean he can't cycle. Sometimes it means he needs to be able to do his paper round drunk. David Cameron left his kid in the pub. I like to think that I'd realise that I left my kid in the pub at the point where I was strapping my bodyguard into a booster seat. You never see Scottish kids in the pub, do you? Well, not since the smoking ban. Cameron's behind in the polls to Ed Miliband. What must that feel like? That must be like hearing that your wife's left you for a dildo. Voting for Ed Miliband's like finding a toilet so dirty you'd rather just shit your pants. Fucking people we've elected over the last few years, man. Lemba Opek, a fucking banana with Down syndrome. Boris Johnson, a guy who always looks like he's just broken a hotel trouser press trying to reheat a meat pie. We're getting further and further away from democracy in this country. What we call democracy has got further and further away from reality. So when I was a kid, Thatcher was in. Thought, I didn't vote for this. Most people did vote for it. And she's doing exactly what she said she was going to do. Deep-throating Satan's cock so hard that she could lick his black balls on the downstroke. And then years later, Labour are in and you think, well, I voted for this, but they're not doing what they said they would do. And now with the coalition, you think, well, nobody voted for this. Nobody voted for the fucking cuts. And if you're a Liberal Democrat voter, they're doing exactly the opposite of what they said they were going to do. They're leading us by stages. They're leading us by stages to the next general election. When you go into a polling booth, you'll be confronted by a piece of paper with drawings of 4 different desserts on it. You'll tick the one you like least, and you'll get raped by a clown. And you'll think the clown's going to come inside you, but at the last minute he'll pull out and it'll be confetti. They're fucking immoral people, that's the problem. They're not moral. You know, let's withdraw benefits to encourage people back into work. Well, if there's no jobs, that's like saying, let's withdraw medicine to encourage people to become fucking immortal. We're a culture in freefall, that's what we are. Just switch your TV on, man. Have you seen that show where they get heavily disabled people to go on dates? What's it called? The Only Way is Essex? That's the role models now. If you're a young woman now, that's what you aspire to be fired into more often than fucking Tupac. The Voice. I watched one episode of The Voice and my cringe reflex got such a workout I can now clench my face into a fist. Jessie J to me looks like a flightless bird that somehow got its head stuck in a chemotherapy wig. She came out as bisexual. Brilliant. Now women cannot fancy her as well. fucking zombie culture, do you know what I mean? Anyone who makes money will just never retire. Madonna will keep getting her tits out. Madonna's tits look like the kind of things you'd buy in a pet shop for dogs to chew as a treat. Blur, a fucking cheese-making cunt, a New Labour cunt, a fake Cockney cunt, and a cunt. So I get one final swoop on the Death Star. I'm doing a show on Channel 4. Channel 4, a channel so cynical that they'll probably rebrand the Paralympics Embarrassing Bodies Sports Day. They haven't stood still over the years. They invented E4 for morons and E4+1 for morons who can't tell the time. Poor old Whitney Houston. It was only the other day that the grief really hit me when Ladbrokes explained that for my accumulator to pay out, Gaza would have had to have died first. Her family said at least she was clean when she died, and she must have been. She'd been in the bath for an hour. Steve Jobs died. Anyone else think it was ironic that Steve Jobs got thinner as his laptops got thinner? And by the time he invented the MacBook Air, he was a ghost. I came up with a use for the iPad. The iPad's for taking the piss out of fat people. What you do is you sit in the train, you wait for a fat person to sit beside you, and then you go, excuse me, I think I left my iPhone on that chair. Oh, you squashed it, you fat cunt! I read a great thing the other day. Said that the Wi-Fi signal from laptops might damage sperm. Now, to be honest, I've been checking my sperm when the laptop's on, and it seems to be fine. If anything, it's a laptop that gets damaged. Like an overfilled toasty. And that was suddenly too much. You're a fucking strange crowd. I've always had this talent to say, it's a kind of reflex to say the most horrible thing possible. Remember when I was a teacher? A wee guy in class put his hand up. I think he was trying to embarrass me, right? And he went, sir, see for my story, I need a euphemism for erection. And I said, rapist's crowbar. It's a curse, it is a curse, you know. I went out with this girl for years, and we were in love, we were both in love, we lived together, all that stuff. We split up. Then years later I saw her in a railway station. And we're talking for 5 minutes, and it's one of those things where you're talking for 5 minutes, it's like you've never been apart. And as she left, she turned round and she said, do you ever think of me? And I said, to stop myself from coming. So it's a curse, you know, and I get a lot of hate. I would point out, no one could ever hate me half as much as I don't care. It's good to be hated by morons. It is. It's good to wake up in the morning knowing that there's people out there that would dance in my grave, but if I get buried at sea, they'll all fucking drown. It was the last one. I was doing some jokes about Robbie Savage, and he got annoyed and he wanted to fight me. He tweeted me, he wanted to fight me. And I was like, you keep fighting evolution and I'll fight the winner. Got a wee bit of trouble with Jordan last year. I don't create the culture, I just comment on the culture, and if the culture throws up a big-titted surgery abuse victim that I only know about her disabled kid because he turns up in her publicity, I'll do a fucking joke about it. I can prove that the jokes were aimed at Jordan, because there's no way that Harvey was watching that fucking show. People said, oh, Harvey will get bullied at school because of that joke. They really tell me there are kids at school at Harvey who'd like to bully him but can't think of an angle? So I wrote a wee light-hearted joke about Jordan to lighten things up. Here we go. What's the difference between Jordan and a pair of curtains? Nothing, they both make the world a darker place. She was in the paper yesterday saying she's a Marmite personality. And she is, because half the country hates her and the other half think that she belongs on the end of a fucking knife.
Anthony Warrell Thompson got done for nicking cheese. 5 times they filmed him before the police turned up. They'd been down there a lot quicker if it was fucking Ainsley Harriott. I like that wee delay there where you worked out if that was racist or not. It wasn't, fuck off. Imagine filming him for nicking cheese. It'd be better if they'd come in to open up in the morning and found him with his neck broken in a giant mouse trap. Apparently that ginger beard thing, have you ever heard this? That this is a Viking thing? That the idea would be that there was no native British ginger beard. So this would have come from the Vikings. Which is why I think I'm not that athletic. Because almost by definition, my great-great-great-great-granny couldn't run very fast. If you think about it, if you go far back along enough any of our genetic lines, we're all at some point the product of rape. With me, it's my dad. I say my dad, it could be any one of Cameroon's 1982 World Cup squad. You alright, lady with the pink hair? You okay? You haven't smiled all night, you okay? Scooby-Doo fucked off on you? Okay, I'll talk about one last thing, because after I talk about this, it's kind of too horrible to talk about anything else. The last thing I want to talk about is, do you remember the case recently where a bunch of guys in Rochdale, operating out of a Balti house, were, for want of a better phrase, they were fucking kids. Now, I thought the way that that case was reported on was racist, right? Because papers implied this, but also people came out and said this. David Starkey said this is cultural for these guys. Fuck all to do with their culture. The guys were from Pakistan. Pakistan has exactly the same age of consent that we do. It had fuck all to do with their culture, and the way that that was reported on was racist. Because white people do that, and when white people do it, it doesn't make the papers. Because the football teams they play for fucking cover it up. I'd actually quite like to eat in that Balti house. At least you know they're not coming in the food. I think it'd be a good episode of Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. You're raping and you're cooking in the same place. You need to separate your raping and your cooking. What's wrong with the sauce? You fucked the kid in it! You fucked the kid! It's been a pleasure talking to you, Glasgow. Take care of yourselves. All the best.